Yeah. Reality is starting to set in for some of these WNBA players, some of these unrivaled players, and we finally have media being honest. Everybody can finally be honest when your numbers tank in left field, when the people show you they don't give a damn. It's like pouring some cold water on somebody that's asleep. Huh? Wake up and be honest. It seems as though the players and the WNBA old guarded media.
Reality has hit with full force. The WNBA's traditional media voices, the same ones that once brushed off the excitement, are now openly acknowledging what they couldn't accept before. Caitlin Clark, and no one else, stands as the driving force behind the league's new wave of fans, soaring revenue, and record-breaking viewership. The data speaks clearly, and it's impossible to ignore. Even the harshest critics can no longer deny it. This is not opinion, it's undeniable fact. The era of doubt has ended, and the silence from her skeptics says it all.
NBA old guarded media is finally ready to admit that Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark solely, was the reason for the increase in these numbers, is the reason for all these new fans, is the reason for all this revenue, and is also the reason nobody is going to be watching these other women's basketball leagues that she is not a part of. We got to break it down. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video as well. Let's get right into things, shall we? All right.
A hard truth is settling in, and it's particularly painful for leagues like Unrivaled. Even Yahoo Sports has acknowledged their uneasy reality surrounding Caitlin Clark. While the league gambled heavily on rapid growth, the results have told a different story. As the second season progresses, shrinking crowds and falling ratings reveal what hype tried to hide. Excitement alone cannot sustain a league without truly elite star power. The illusion of momentum has cracked, leaving behind a stark picture of fading interest where bold ambition once stood.
Shall we? All right. Yahoo Sports. Unrivaled runs into uncomfortable Caitlin Clark truth amid viewership decline, per analyst. All righty. Now, we been knew this, though. We been knew what was going on. As Unrivaled's second season unfolds, empty seats, tumbling ratings expose a league betting big on growth only to confront the limits of hype without elite talent. So that's the thing I want to get very clear here. Y'all really thought it was about y'all.
This was never about we. It was never about an entire league or a collective movement. Many convinced themselves that the surge in attention belonged to everyone, that the spotlight was evenly shared. The level of denial was remarkable. They framed it as a rising tide lifting all boats, when in reality, it was driven by one singular, undeniable force. Now, as the harsh numbers come into focus, that self-serving story has crumbled completely. The reflection staring back tells a very different and far less flattering truth.
What's going on? We been knew what was going on. As Unrivaled's second season unfolds, empty seats, tumbling ratings expose a league betting big on growth only to confront the limits of hype without elite talent. So that's the thing I want to get very clear here. Y'all really thought it was about y'all. Y'all really thought, y'all, like when Angel Reese said, no, it's not because of one person, it's because of me too. Y'all thought that was her too and all of y'all. The delusion. Now look at you. That's
the sense of betrayal didn't begin recently. It was planted months ago. Unrivaled's November 2025 marketing campaign was a carefully crafted illusion. Through cryptic teasers and repeated 22 references, from 22 minutes of your time to multiple visual cues, the league deliberately steered fans toward believing Caitlin Clark, or even Angel Reese, might be involved. It was a calculated strategy, not coincidence. By leveraging Clark's massive popularity, they set the stage for excitement they never intended to fully deliver on. The bait was laid, and they hoped the crowd would blindly rush in.
Tatters just as season 2 tipped off on January 5th, 2026. This bait and switch didn't just disappoint fans, it amplified Unrivaled's vulnerability as viewership craters and WNBA rising salaries steal the spotlight from what once made the upstart league appealing. So all of the money they're getting in Unrivaled was a big deal, but now with the new WNBA offer, it ain't much of a big deal at all. Here it says Unrivaled's founders, Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, launched the 3-on-3 circuit in January 2025, yada, yada, yada. Here it says that growth hinged on buzz. Demita highlighted,
but the superstar ultimately declined. Caitlin Clark turned them down, and the consequences were severe. Analyst Rachel Da was blunt and accurate in her assessment, pointing out how Unrivaled leaned on Clark's name for hype until she firmly closed the door. The result was a serious blow to the league's credibility. As Season 2 was about to begin, confidence in the brand had already crumbled, leaving it standing on a shaky foundation of broken promises and unmet expectations. This wasn't just a stumble, it was a complete miscalculation.
On Clark, the Indiana Fever guard wearing number 22. They put out a press release and they were like, let us have 22 minutes of your time tomorrow. They kept saying 222 at all different points in this like social media announcement. And a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, they said multiple 22s, like Caitlin and possibly Angel could be joining this league. And then that just didn't happen. And Rachel Demita is spot on. They definitely used for Caitlin Clark for promo until Caitlin Clark came and shut them the hell down. It says this misfire matters now because it eroded trust before tip-off. Last season, novelty high-stakes 3-on-3 with WNBA off-season stars drove sellouts. And
the fallout was swift and devastating. The bait and switch didn't merely upset fans, it laid bare Unrivaled's fragility. Ratings collapsed at a startling pace, and what had once looked like a bold, promising league suddenly appeared uncertain and overwhelmed. The excitement that had surrounded its launch evaporated, leaving behind only a hollow reminder of its missed potential. Genuine engagement dried up, and the momentum that once carried the league forward was gone. The harm was already done, and there was no path back.
Looking half empty on opening weekend. The arena was half empty on opening weekend. Hold on, let me hit the water. Let me hit the water. The arena half empty on opening weekend. That is nasty, nasty work. Nasty work. Now, you guys are finally coming to reality of if Caitlin Clark is not involved, you're not going to do these huge numbers like you think you are. And that's just the facts. That's just the facts. Not consistently. Maybe on a one-off finals game. Maybe on a one-on-one tournament. One-off type.
To make matters worse, the WNBA's rapidly increasing salaries shifted the entire landscape. What once gave Unrivaled its appeal, lucrative off-season opportunities for star players, suddenly felt far less compelling. The league's key selling point lost its shine almost overnight. Already weakened by Caitlin Clark's rejection, Unrivaled saw its remaining advantage disappear beneath the weight of the WNBA's new financial power. What little leverage it had left simply faded into irrelevance.
Year spiked over to over 2 million viewers, only for 2025 to dip to 900,000 amid her injury limited play without her star power. So we have seen this across the board. From the WNBA, Caitlin Clark there, 2 million views. Caitlin Clark gone, you lose over 1 million of those viewership, 1.2 some of those viewership. We saw ratings tank by more than 55% when Caitlin Clark was announced with injury. That's why they kept lying and saying the girl was day to day and stringing us along like maybe she'll play to get us to keep watching. That's why they did that. Let's be real.